Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bowhunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Sankoviak. Today we are going to talk about making your full-size truck off-road capable. Okay, not all of us are able to buy the off-road versions of a lot of the trucks that are out there, especially in the full-size category where they're already so expensive as they are. But going out there to buy a Ford Raptor or a Ram Rebel TRX or the Ram Power Wagon, that kind of stuff. These are off-road capable vehicles. The Gladiator Rubicon, which isn't really full size, but when you start looking at these vehicles, you look at a Ram Power Wagon, you look at a Gladiator Rubicon, you look at a Colorado ZR2 Bison Edition or Colorado ZR2, that kind of stuff. When you start looking at some of these vehicles, you start to notice when you actually pull one up and look at it versus looking at the vehicle you have, you start to see all the variations that they have that make them very off-road capable. Better breakover angles, better departure and approach angles, more ground clearance, more aggressive off-road tires, front and rear lockers, disconnectable sway bars. There's so many things they have that take them to an off-road level that our trucks, the trucks that you probably have as a full size, your F-150, even an FX4, or XLT, or the Ram 1500s, the Bighorns, the Laramies, Silverado ZR or Z71s. None of those trucks have any comparison or capabilities that will ever match any of those ones we mentioned. They also don't have those price tags of the ones we mentioned. But can you still take your full size, your F-150 XLT, your Silverado Z71, your Ram Bighorn, can you make them capable off-road? Yes, you can. And it's not a lot of money involved in it, but we got to look at some of these things on these vehicles and change them around a little bit. First off, you need to understand that approach and departure angle, okay? So when you have a vehicle, the front of that, and I'm showing you a thing here on the screen, because it's better than I can draw it, but that approach angle, so when you're driving forward, when you're about to drop into a hole, or come up to a hill, or anything like that, or even hunting, as we're using them all the time, you go to pull off of the road, and if there's any kind of an embankment there that you got to get over, that's approach angle. And if your vehicle, especially the many full-size vehicles are today, they are way low to the ground in the front. They do that on purpose. It's for gas mileage, and it's that rake in the back is so you get better towing capacity when it levels out with a trailer on there, so you can have these vehicles that are full size. It's amazing. We live in great times where you can have a 50 or a 5,000 pound vehicle that can tow 12,000 pounds. That's pretty unheard of on a lot of stuff. It has to do with that rake and the way they set these vehicles up today. They'll let you do that. That front end being down means it blocks all the wind and sends it up. Nothing's getting under there. You get better MPGs. There's a lot of advantages to the way vehicles are made today, these full-size trucks, but they're designed more to be road queens. 20-inch wheels. 20-inch wheels are one of the worst things you can do off-road, but we got solutions for it, but it used to be where trucks came with 16, 17, 18-inch wheels, were good wheels. Now everything seems to ride on 20s in the full-size world. 20s are not the best way to go. They're not your preferred option. We'll cover it. So how do we take your standard full-size vehicle and make it more off-road worthy? Well, we got a few things we got to address, and I will show you a bunch of pictures here. First off, tires. Most trucks today, unfortunately, they are trucks, but they come with passenger-rated highway tires, basically. Okay, they are an all-season highway tire. Okay, like I'm showing you right here on the screen. You don't want that off-road. It's not going to do you very well. Not only is it not going to give you the traction you need, it is also very susceptible to punctures. These full-size trucks are heavier than mid-size, so you're up there in the weight factor, and you need something that has a sidewall puncture resistance, a protection on the sidewall, can be aired down without damaging the sidewall. So you're going to need something that is going from a passenger-rated 4-ply type tire to at least a C, a D, or an E. I prefer E-rated tires, but which is going to go to a 10-ply tire for E-rated. I think C and D are 6-ply, but a 10-ply, D might be, I think passenger and SL rated tires are 4. I never heard of a B, but a C rated would be 6, a D rated would be 8, and an E rated is 10 ply for the most part. But they're going to be much stronger higher quality, better tires. They will weigh a little bit more, yes, not too bad, but they will have a little more weight. Might impact your MPGs a half mile to a mile per gallon, but they are going to be so much more capable. And you want to get away from that all-season tire and get into an all-terrain tire like what you're seeing here. Falken Wild Peaks, one of my all-time favorites. BF Goodrich KO2s, these are probably the most popular ever in a good off-road tire. And these Goodyear Ultra Trains are what I'm about to put on my Tacoma. So they're new to me, so we'll see. But they look very similar to the Falken Wild Peaks, and they look similar to the BF Goodrich KO2s. But they are, all three of these are aggressive, yet they are not going to be super loud on the road. They're not going to, wear out real fast. They're a very perfect, good mix of on-road manners and off-road capability that will take your truck. That one thing, by changing those tires, will take your truck to off-road capabilities. It will literally triple the capabilities that your truck has already just by going to these tires, without fail. That's how much tires matter. And as a bonus on here, wheel-wise, if you have 20-inch wheels on your car or on your truck and you want to stay stock tires and stay in something that's in that 30, 32, most of the trucks are coming with 32 size tires on them, 33s maybe on a couple versions. But if you want to stay with that 32, 33-inch tire, might not be a bad idea for you to go to a smaller wheel, down to like an 18-inch wheel, which will save you money on buying the tires anyway, because a 20-inch tire costs more than an 18-inch tire. So it's not as big of a hit as you think, but going to an 18-inch wheel, you gain more sidewall height, okay? And I'm showing that here in a picture. Again, I'm not going to draw this out, but you want that sidewall height because one of your best tools that you can have when you're off-road and you start getting into some bad scenarios is the ability to air that tire down. When you air it down, creates a bigger contact patch on the ground. Not width, but length, front to back. So it doesn't have to work so hard to climb itself out of whatever it's in. And it's a fantastic feature. Airing down a tire is just pure power for what you want to do. On a 20-inch tire, when you air it down, because there's so little tire and so much rim, it can't really flatten out too much, and then any obstacles like roots or rocks that you hit will almost pinch between the rock or the root and the actual rim, squishing the tire and pop the tires or knock them off their beads and give you issues. So having more sidewall by having a smaller rim, so you have more meat in that sidewall of that tire, as again you're seeing in the picture, is a huge benefit. So tires, first and most important thing you could do. Smaller rims to give you more tire, more meat and beef to that tire. A fantastic option if you can swing it. Not mandatory, but if you can, much better option. The more sidewall you have, the better it's going to be for you off-road. And the much better it's going to ride. 20-inch, I had 20-inch rims on 3 trucks now, and I couldn't stand them. As a matter of fact, I had them on the last 2 F-150s. Hated them, just straight up hated them. And then when I got my, as soon as we bought my wife's Ram 2500, even after putting 35s on those 20-inch rims, still didn't like them. We went to 35.5-inch tires and we dropped down to 18-inch rims. Love it. So this is something worth considering. Wheels are not very expensive. You can get wheels from anywhere from $100 a piece to $300 a piece for good quality rims. They're not a lot of money, and you will get some savings by not buying 20-inch tires all the time, by buying 18-inch for those new rims. Something to consider. But this combo, this tire mainly, number one most important thing you can do that will improve the characteristics of your full-size truck. A leveling kit is a very good one. Again, we talked about that rake. I'm showing you pictures right now of a normal stock position and then a leveled position. It gets that front end up off the ground. My F-150s, the last 2 I had, I can't tell you how many valances I went through the plastic piece on the front by ripping them off, and how many times I had grass and muck and mud and clumps of stuff in my tow hooks on the front because they keep getting lower and lower and lower in the front, and it's just getting unbearable. And level kits are a very cheap and easy way to pop that right back up and give you that clearance you want on the front for that approach angles, better breakover, better everything. It's got a lot of advantages to you. So I'll probably actually pause this, show you some of that so you can kind of see it. Now another good one too, skid plates. Skid plates. Here's skid plates, and I'm showing you some examples on here right now. if you get like the FX4 version, you get the Ram Rebel, these are going to come with some decent skid plates. All of your other ones, Bighorns, Laramies, Silverados, Z71s, whatever the customs, any of the models that are out there, they're not coming with much skid or much underbody protection in the form of skid plates. I'm showing you here what a F-150, if it's not an FX4 or a tremor package or anything like that, what it comes with. It's like a felt skid plate. It's horrible. I've ripped it off twice on my last F-150, or my F-150 that was a sport package. It just kept, like I said, got ripped off all the time. And to the point where the dealer was actually getting upset with me for having to replace them all the time. So skid plates may be a consideration for you. They will protect you from stumps. They will protect you from a lot of different things out there that you could encounter. Rocks, stumps. You go to do a creek crossing. You don't know what's in there. You might be doing fine, and all of a sudden you drop your wheels a little bit. Next thing you know, your exhaust pipe where it Y's across on there just got dinged on a rock, and now your truck's going to stall out on you in 30 seconds, and you're stuck. Things like that. Or you punch a hole, or a rock and put a hole in your oil pan, or any of these kind of things can happen. Skid plates, I think, are a valuable option. There's a tremendous amount of them out there for your vehicles. I'm showing you pictures again right here of what I'm talking about so you can see the differences. And in my opinion, they're worth it. They're not mandatory, but they are something that does make a good difference. A couple things I do think are mandatory: running boards. I don't mean buy running boards. I mean consider what you have for running boards. Now I'm showing you two versions. Most of the trucks out there today come with these running boards that hang low for full size. It's by design, so that step is low, you can step on it and climb in. Those create a lot of problems off-road. You will hang up on those on all kinds of things. So when you wreck them, or if you want to avoid wrecking them and having any issues, you can go to something that is a high and tight type running board like you're seeing right now. Something that runs, instead of hanging way down low, it's still a step, it's still a running board, it still serves the same function, but it's up there nice and tight to the body line where you're not going to have that thing hanging 6 inches low and get tore off and snag on everything and get busted up and bent and beat up and any of that kind of stuff. So going to a tight, high and tight type running board going to make a big difference. I'll have some links for some of the stuff down below for you that works fantastic, but those are a great option too. They're going to give you that ground clearance and give you that capability without ruining them. Mud flaps, in my opinion, are mandatory, and the reason for it is this right here. This is the #1 reason you need these. Okay? When you go to from an all-season tire, like what comes on your F-150s, Colorado, or your Silverados and your Rams, those all-season tires have no traction to them. Okay, they're great on pavement and wet pavement. That's it. But when you get them, when you start going into some of these tires, like we're showing you, they will hold rocks. Okay, when you hit gravel, they hold rocks. They pick them up, and then as the tire comes around, they swing them and shoot them out, and they're going to beat the bottom of your truck up. They're going to ding up and paint chip your rocker panels, the whole underside, everything. You're going to hear them ting, 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 ting as you drive down dirt roads. Mud flaps are going to prevent that from having any damaging effect on your vehicle. They will now spin and hit the mud flap. So you got a tire right here, goes around, here's your truck, okay, here's your underside. Well, all of this, those rocks are going pink, pink, ding, and they're banging off the bottom of that. You put that mud flap on there, and now they're all hitting that mud flap, and they're not getting to your actual vehicle. It's tremendous. With mud flaps, though, you got to buy the right kind. We are off-roading these trucks. That's the whole purpose. We need flexible mud flaps. We cannot have hard plastic mud flaps. My Tacoma that I just bought comes with these super rigid, you can barely move them mud flaps, and they hang. It's like, no, I'll rip those off, and then I'll end up stripping the bolts from them, prying backwards. No, those got to go immediately. So I bought some rec gens. Rec gens or rock blocks, something like this, tough skins. I'll put some links down below when I'm showing you some pictures, but these mud flaps are very capable of doing what they want and protecting you, but they're also flexible, so they will bend out of the way when you do come down on rocks, or you go to hop over a log and you come down. They're not going to damage that mud flap. It'll just fold up and then come right back, and it does exactly what you want it to. So in my opinion, mandatory, have those mud flaps on there. So they will protect your vehicle, your rockers, and everything from all the stones that will be kicked up by these. You can tell true off-roading people, or guys that go off-road, on their rigs because they will have mud flaps on them. If their tires are sticking out and they got these big aggressive tires, they have no mud flaps, they're pavement queens. Because if they started taking them off-road, started getting into any kind of gravel like that, they would soon realize the damage they were doing to their vehicle, and they would immediately put these on. Nobody would put their vehicle through that. Mud flaps, very important for that stuff. Now again, if you're just mudding or rock crawling or something like that, and your pavement all the way there, maybe that's different. Those of us that are hunting, adventure seeking, running trails, we're on gravel. A lot, okay? We don't have sand roads up here, we have gravel everywhere. And that gravel will cause major damage to your truck if you don't have them, so add mud flaps. Want to see what we're on here real quick? Hold on. We got reset. Sorry, had to reset the camera. Alright, so anyway, mud flaps, very, very important that you're going to have them on there. That's basically what you need to do to the vehicle. Now, the parts that I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but this isn't just for full-size trucks for this next part. Every vehicle should have this. But especially full-size trucks. Because, again, unless you have a Power Wagon or a Tremor package, F-150, or, you know, a Raptor or something that's going to give you these huge off-road functions, okay? Front and rear lockers, or at least at the minimum rear lockers. Terrain select systems that actually act with brake locking differential systems in there that are computer controlled. Until you start getting into vehicles that have that sort of stuff, we're very limited in a 4 high, 4 low scenario where you're really only 2-wheel drive. Okay, so you don't, even if you got the locker, you're 3-wheel drive, but you're limited compared to some of what these other vehicles are that are pure, strong, heavy-duty off-roaders. We want to make sure we have recovery gear here. There are a few simple things. You can bring whatever you want, but these are the tried and true. If you have these, there's really no situation that you cannot self-extract from, that you cannot get yourself out of. Shovel. Little mini shovel, very, very valuable. I will have links to this stuff down below. I've talked about all of this in other videos, so I'm just going to crash through it quick for you. But I will have links below. But a shovel, mandatory. Traction boards, worth their weight in gold. Not only are they valuable to get you out in traction scenarios, when you high center, okay, when you're high centered, I'll show you a picture right now. Somebody who's high centered and can't get any traction because you're actually bottomed down on your frame. You can take those traction boards, even stack them one on top of the other one, shove them in under that wheel and let them give you that height clearance for traction. So they act for a lot of things. If you have to cross a washout, and you need to cross it, but you can't because if you go in there, because again, F-150 full-size trucks, they don't have all that front clearance, even with the level, and you're worried about damaging your bumper, you can take that traction boards and put them in that wash to bridge over it, or to take up some height that's in it. So many variable or valuable options to use traction boards for. Very, very important to have off-road. Minimum of 3 toe straps, and I say 3 30-footers. Okay, with these, especially if you don't have lockers, you can run, I have a video, which will be linked at the end of this for you, how to get yourself, one of the best ways to get your vehicle unstuck by yourself. And it's amazing, but I'll show you and you'll see why you need these. But 3 30-foot toe straps minimum. I would probably throw in 3 30s and 1 20. And you can use that 20 as a tree saver, you can use it for other things. That's what I would have with me, is that. Some shackles, whether they're soft shackles or the steel D-rated or D-ring shackles, but you need to be able to connect some straps together. So I'd have at least 2 or 3 shackles with me as well, probably a minimum of 3. And a saw, folding hand saw, nothing fancy, but this comes in very, very valuable when you're on the trail too, especially for self-recovering. Let's say you got traction boards on 2 wheels, you want to add some other stuff, you can use your saw, cut down saplings, and make your own traction boards as well too. And an air compressor, because one of the best things you can do, like I said, when you air down that tire, you're going to take that tire patch, which is like this from a side view, okay, and here's the ground, right here. When you do that, when you air that down, here's the ground. Your tire patch now is going to go like this, like that. See the difference? You have this little contact patch here when you have air in it. When you let that air down, you get so much more contact that it has traction and can bite. It almost turns it into like tracks on a tank as they're down there, and it helps pull you out of there. So being able to air your tires down and take them down to 15, 20 PSI, and then once you get out, you need to air them back up. Having a compressor for you, a little Viair 88, or which is one of my favorite. I'll link it here below for you as well as some others. But just a little compressor that you throw under your seat that you can then plug into your cigarette lighter or hook to your battery and re-air those tires up will make a huge difference. So this is really all you have to have right there. But with this combination of this stuff, this recovery gear, the tires, level kit if you want to, skid plates if you want, running boards, again, if yours are low, I would either take them off when you go off-roading, or during hunting season, pull them right off completely, or get high and tight frame, you know, that are right up there nice and tight to the frame and out of the way, and then mandatory mud flaps. This is not a lot of money here that you gotta be invested in, not a lot of things. Understand how that works with the tire, you know, when you gotta air them down and stuff like that, but this is not complicated, and it's not a lot of money. But this will take your truck, this will quadruple or even, you know, 5, 6 times the capability of what your truck was off-road already without really hurting the on-road manners. And that's what we're after. We're still daily driving them every day, still taking them to work and taking them places. We just want that functionality when we want to go enjoy the outdoors and go explore, go on hunting trips, go scout, go into new areas, run some trails with the family, look for deer and wildlife out there. All the stuff we want to do, we want that truck to be capable to do it. This takes a full-size truck to a whole nother level. I hope you enjoyed it. There will be links down below for you. And any questions, put them in the comments. Thanks for watching.